listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Welcome to the White Wall Sessions Radio. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. On tonight's show, part 2 of The Slamming Doors, Jordan Carr and the Boys, and Black River Revue. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter by searching The White Wall Sessions. We are now accepting submissions for Season 8. To apply, visit whitewallsessions.com. The White Wall Sessions would like to thank these fine sponsors for their support. Last Stop CD Shop, Bell Incorporated, Workplace IT Management, J. Rick Luthery, The University Center, Screen Flare, The Pink Moon Room, Club David, Great Outdoor Store, local branded convenience stores, Minuteman Press, Vishnu Bunny Tattoo and Piercing, and South Dakota Friends of Traditional Music. The Slamming Doors is a 4-piece rock group that calls Duluth, Minnesota home. Bringing their unique style of bluegrass and rock to Season 6, the crowd was treated with a solid blend of southern rock nostalgia and soulful twist. The Slamming Doors are Adam Herman, rhythm guitar and vocal, Matt Johnson drums, Russ Sackett lead guitar, and Ben Anderson bass.
seasons. You're a breaker of bones. You're a hammer to reason. When I'm down here thinking on. Down here thinking on.
I think that's kind of the cool thing with this group is every one of us grew up on different styles of music. And I think it all just kind of to come together in a melting pot. And we're not exactly sure what we're getting ourselves into the first time we run through something. But I think we're all normally fairly happy with how it ends up. And it's just our different little pieces that we bring to it.
Well, what's an idea of the styles of the music that you all come from? Is there like country, metal, and punk and hip hop? Or, I mean, what is the mixture?
I don't think anybody's a big metalhead. But I would say, myself, it really has changed growing up. My dad would listen. He was crazy. He'd have Willie Nelson on, or the Counting Crows on, or Madonna on, or the Doors, or whatever. And it was just very big mix of music. Riding in his truck, I'd hear just all sorts of different stuff. And I wonder if he put Madonna on just to mess with me. I don't know. Yeah, he still never know. So I grew up, I started playing guitar at 14, and the things I would listen to were like the Doors. And it's funny that the Slamming Doors, that has no relation at all to that, but listen to that. I would listen to, a lot of Lyle Lovett. I absolutely adore it. John Hyatt.
Yes.
It's really great songwriters, but that's definitely not
See that
the style that we have, though,
Yeah, I can see it in your writing, though.
Yeah, it definitely shines through, So I'd like to steal from Lyle Lovett if I could. But
How about some of the other guys? You all kind of come from the same background, or?
I grew up the same thing as Adam, listening to what my dad was playing, and very blues-driven stuff. Everything from B.B. King and Buddy Guy to Robert Johnson and to Stevie Ray Vaughan, but it was all very much in the blues vein. And I started playing in jazz band in junior high. Huh. So blues and jazz stuff was what I listened to growing up and when I started playing. And, blues drumming is pretty straightforward stuff. There's not a whole lot going on back there other than, what they're just driving the truck, right? Driving the train. And, that's what I grew up. I think I'm not trying to compare myself to a blues drummer by any means, but, when I listen back to it, I definitely know where I know where it's coming from. Yeah, the pocket for sure.
Yeah.
Part of that is because I'm not good enough to do anything outside of that. That might be the main reason, but
but you can do so much with so little, and particularly if you're a pocket drummer, like we were talking about.
The touch of a drummer is so important, and that can really make or break a set.
Well, like I said, it's
Some
really
drums will beat the hell.
it's really easy to just be that straightforward pocket guy when you've got a bass player that's doing the cool melodic things that Ben's doing and kind of dancing around a little bit. That I think they play well together.
Yeah. I mean, the first sort of electronic music was a drum machine, right? But sort of electronic and dance music, maybe that works, but this kind of music, you can always tell the difference between a real drummer and even a really good drum machine, right? Because of the touch you're talking about. So, Russ, you played keys and you played some great guitar tonight. Which is when you say, what would you call yourself? A keyboard player or a guitar player?
Oh, I don't know. I'd probably call myself just an all-around musician. I've been studying music since I was a little kid. Just like these guys, I grew up listening to what my dad was listening to. A lot of Beatles, Rolling Stones. I took up listening to a lot of country and stuff when I got a little older. I just love music.
Sometimes on that long dark highway, nothing here but the rearview mirror. So deep down in the pool, there's a mirror, there's a time there she wish you were dead. So you keep on sinking, you keep on clinking, you keep on laying down low. Till you come close to a new town, this new girl, she wanna take you home. You lay low, you lay low. Deeper than that hole, you lay low. You lay low, you lay low, yeah. Deeper than that hole, you lay low. Yeah. I met a skinny girl beside a 218. It was summertime, and summertime was running late. The guitar out, strap guitars on, bass guitar is slow, play some country song. Late nights, round bottles, skinny girl, full throttle. How long can I
Coming up after the break, Jordan Carr and the Boys.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Living life one adventure after the next, Jordan Carr and the Boys' latest leg of their journey found them on the White Wall Sessions for Season 6. Minneapolis, Minnesota is where they call home, but you'll hardly find them there, as they are constantly traveling and writing their experiences into their music. Jordan Carr and the Boys are Jordan Carr, vocals, guitar, and percussion; Caleb Harris, drums; Jordan Riggs, guitar and backing vocals; and Zach Anderson on bass.
I woke up in a jail on Sunday morning with a headache and red eyes, and the memory of a girl that I've been trying to get rid of. After all that I have done, just to forget we were in love. Well, this just seemed to be the only thing that's keeping us apart. I took the bus to New York City just to try and break your heart. I came back to Minneapolis with a fire in my heart, but it burned down after the weekend. After a couple of gallons of booze, a few failed attempts at getting laid, and I was back in bed with you. After all that I had done, just to forget we were in love. Well, this just seemed to be the only thing that's keeping us apart. I wrote a song to tell you off, and I finally complained. And when I finished it, I was up to let me know more you and me. Well, that song it had never spent, and that record never sold. But when you finally heard it, you said that it was your favorite that I wrote. After all that I had done, just to forget we were in love. This just seemed to be the only thing that's keeping us apart. I got 4 more sin and 4 to go. I've got some time to sit and think while I lie in this sand alone. If there's one thing that I learned, well, I think you ought to know. Honey, I can look pathetic all on my own. Not any hate from you. Just to keep myself from you. And after all that I have done, just to forget we were in love. Well, after all the time with you, and all that we've been through, well, this just seemed to be the only thing that's keeping me from you. And all the foolish things I do.
I used to play in my other bands. I would play electric, and every now and then I'd bust out an acoustic one to maybe play like "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" at a show or something, just for giggles. But I thought that it just sounded better if I'd slow down some of those songs, and instead of playing bar chords, I played full chords or open notes.
Yeah.
So I just kept going, and then I think I toyed around with the idea. There was once or twice we'd run through some songs, and I said maybe I'll play electric, and I remember Caleb being like, I don't think it
sounds like crap. So.
And you don't sound good. So no, I like the dynamic. I think I didn't want to have anything that was super big and heavy, and as a sound, as a full band. And I kind of I like that. I like the dynamic between the acoustic and the electric.
Yeah, in the SSWG, the singer-songwriter with guitar. Acoustic, I mean, there's a certain approach that you take to that when you're the solo artist.
Sure.
that you are the whole song, and then when you bring that into the band, you want to keep that piece of it, that
Right.
the core. So.
Yeah, and I changed a lot when I played that solo show on Wednesday. I changed a lot. The way that I play it by myself, I changed that up quite a bit more. Whereas here, I'm not playing as much throughout the songs. I'm letting kind of everything else take control of it. But I mean, so just kind of ring out a few chords and pretend to play. Like sometimes I'm sure you got some side clips where my pick's going, but it's not really touching the strings.
Watch the looks.
I can't, I can't. Otherwise, I get embarrassed. I don't know what to do. I don't have good hand gestures.
Well, it's nice to have a band like this.
It is. I mean, no, these guys. I love playing with these guys. It makes the song so much better and so much more fun. And that if I didn't have people like this to play with, I don't think that it would have lasted this long.
Where do these songs come from?
Jail. A lot of them.
Okay, that's an interesting. Let's go there.
Let's talk about it.
All right, well, I'm all rehearsed on it. I told the stories on Wednesday. That first record was, I'll shorten this up. So I did that. I started toying around with my buddy Colin, who has actually played here, was in Goodnight Gold Dust, who is
great band. We had them back in season 3.
Yeah, they're awesome. And so he was trying to just getting into dabbling with producing and recording. So he wanted to do a song, and then during that time, I was in another band. We had gone down south, and we played a show in a small town, and we got drunk and didn't leave the town, and we decided to stay there, and we went out to the bars, and then we went to an after party. So I'm at an after party, and there's I'm making a drink in the kitchen, and I hear the doors open and some guys come in, and I hear someone say something pretty derogatory, and it apparently it's directed at me, because the next thing I know, I slammed against the wall from behind, and I kind of turned around. I had my little Marty McFly moment with like Biff Tannen, where I'm like, I'm gonna do something. And now, and I had that liter of gin in my hand, and when I felt threatened, I hit him with it, and it hit him in the head. And the next thing I knew, I woke up in a pool of blood on the ground, and because someone had clearly knocked me out afterwards, and everything. I'm feeling
Obviously.
Well, this story was. Never mind. So everything's very slow motion after that. I got up off the ground, and people are screaming. There's blood on everything. And I walk to the kitchen. I'm cleaning blood off me, and I can see sirens coming through the window. And then there's this guy comes up to me, and I'm very delirious. Like everything is like a movie. It's real slow. And this guy goes, "I think you should go, man. I think you killed that guy." And I heed his warning, but I don't really understand. So I walk out the back door, and I'm stumbling around these backyards, and I fall into a pool at one point, and then I stumble into the yard and into the street, and a car slams on its brakes, and they almost hit me. And the guy rolls the window down. He's like, "Hey, man, we were just at that party," and apparently they ran when the cops came, and they picked me up. And this was 2011, I think is when this happened. And so they said the same thing in the car. They're like, "Man, I think that guy might be dead." And so I'm kind of coming to. I'm really freaking out. And then I sleep on this person's couch for the night, and I meet up with my bandmates again in the morning. We go back to the city we lived in at the time, and I don't hear anything about it for 2 weeks. And one day I wake up with all this. I wake up with all these voicemails from people, and then one is from my father. And it's the most disappointed I've ever heard him. And I've really disappointed him in my life. So this is pretty disappointed. And I guess I should say the guy did not die. He had a bunch of, I always forget to tell that part of the story. And at the end, someone's like, "Well, what happened? Did he die or what?" And I don't mean to glamorize it by any means, but I Googled my name after that voicemail, and I was on Minnesota's Most Wanted, and there was a whole page about how I had gone there solely to hurt this person. Not that I was getting paid to play music, but that I went there with that intention. And so for the next year and a half, I was on trial with looking at potential 30 years in prison. And so I knew the day that it was going to happen. I knew I was going for some amount of time, but they said the max was 30. But during that year and a half, I recorded that record with Colin in his living room and in random basements places. And so the day we finished recording, or the day after we finished recording, I had my sentencing, and they gave me a year. So I sat a year. And so every day I would pace around, like reciting the record and going, what are we going to do? Or what am I going to do with it? What do I want to do? And when I got out, we were working on mixing it for about 2 months while I put these guys together to play that show. And the show went over really well. They ran out of whiskey at the show, which was...
That's a good sign.
Yeah. And so that's that story of that record, which is a pretty... Like, we'd spoke a little bit earlier before that. There's a lot of these things were from a much darker time, and I was terrified that whole time. I was scared, and I was doing a little too much of a lot and running hard for a while.
Thinking it may be the last time you get a chance to?
Yeah, I wanted to get it done because I knew for that year and a half that I was going to sit somewhere for some amount of time for at least some years of my life. And I got lucked out that the person was fine. He just had some stitches. But I mean, it was good to I had a lot of time in there to kind of detox myself because I was running hard for quite a while. And that was, it's very different. It's very strange when everything is taken away from you. But knowing that it's going to happen was not, it was strange. It was a trip. That year and a half was strange. But everything that's on the record that I made with these guys, I wrote there.
Said I'm in your town, let's fucking praise. Let's do it like we used to. Let's do it like we used to. Said I just got up a house to west. My girl just walking off my ass. Come on, don't let me down. You're the only friend I got left in this town. Radio and said, do you remember this one? Do you remember this one? Belt it out, third eye blind. Tip the bottle, back with the glimmer in his eye. Tonight's our night, here tonight. We're gonna try to outdrink the midnight skies. Got no nose as hell, we can't get high. Tonight, let's do it all. Tonight, let's do it all before we a little smile when I drink the midnight skies. God knows as hell we can't get high. Tonight let's do it all. Tonight let's do it all before we man, all of these years are catching up. And all of these drinks are getting in. And all of these songs, but I'd like to sing along one more year before I give in. Look on the side. Said I gotta tell you something, friend. Said I'm sick of hearing about the real world. Let's drink the midnight
Coming up after the break, Black River Revue.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Black River Revue is a pure blend of freshwater bluegrass and Americana. They came to season 6 where they wowed the crowd with their unique style and sound. Black River Revue is Adam Staria, guitar, harmonica, and vocals, Ian Cavale, bass and vocals, Nate Hynum, mandolin and vocals, and Tim Lightgib, banjo.
I don't mind waking up in the morning, rid myself of all I got to do. The leaves have all fallen and the summer's dead. Where have all the good times gone? I see the way that you look at me makes a man tumble from home. Drink away the night and lose the day. Does it even matter anyway? Beat up old truck goes for miles and miles, carbureted, rusty, and all. Forest holds all of the mystery. The roots run deep. Shingles on the roof won't stop the rain. Sturdy walls will keep the storm at bay. Have a drink on me, my friend, and take your time. We're all gonna get there anyway. Waking up in the morning, rid myself of all I got to do. No, I don't mind the morning. Another day to spend my time with you.
Let's talk about instruments for a minute. I mean, let's start with your bass, because I remember your bass from last time. You just have this really cool style that fits this music. I mean, it's sort of not traditional for bluegrass music, but it adds such a interesting flavor to it.
Yeah, my experience, I started on guitar, and I think everything that I learned from that, from the lessons I took, and combine that with the knowledge that I gained from orchestra, that all just kind of played into how I like to play. Yeah. And I since have sold that previous bass that was on last time. It was just way too heavy.
It was pretty.
yeah, it was. But yeah.
But have you ever played a stand-up, or is it always electric bass?
Yeah, it's funny. The place we stayed at last night up by Dalton and Ashby, Minnesota, the guy's house that we stayed at, he had a stand-up bass, and I was kind of just plunking around on it and that kind of thing. I played it in college. I played the stand-up bass in college in orchestra, and that was really fun to have kind of a gap, because I was a non-traditional student, so I went a couple years before going back to school, and so it was interesting. I was kind of yearning to play orchestral music again.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was fun.
So, how long have you been playing Mando?
Well, how long we had the band? 6 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, my story is kind of similar to Tim's. I met Adam, and I kind of messed around on the bass. I never really took it too seriously, but I think Adam was having a party at his house or something. I went out there, and he was playing guitar, and I was playing bass with him, just playing along, and he had an old mandolin in his house, and he just gave it to me, I think. Mm-hmm. And then it was kind of a crappy mandolin, but I kind of just took to it right away. I've always tried to learn how to play guitar, and for some reason, like it never came to me. So the mandolin is just an upside down bass, and there's 8 strings on it, but there's really just 4 doubles. Yeah. So to me, it was easier than a guitar.
Interesting.
And so I just kind of watched a lot of YouTube videos, took a couple lessons here and there, and just kept going with it.
Well, so did you all grow up listening to bluegrass, or did Duluth do this to you? Growing up in Duluth in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Duluth did it to us. I think Oh Brother, We're Out Thou did it to us. I think a lot of, just the resurgence of bluegrass music, but we all grew up kind of on different styles of music, obviously classical music and rock and roll and hip hop. If you had a playlist of everything we listened to in our tour van, it would be
very strange.
Yeah, you go, what is going on? Like 90s rock, 90s pop. Yep. So it's, I don't know what did this to us.
And I've always loved acoustic music, whether it be like classic rock acoustic, like the Eagles. I was a big fan of the Eagles. Well, still am. Ever since I was a little kid, my mom got me into them. Bob Dylan, stuff like that, and then started hearing bluegrass music on Boundary Waters trips, like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And then finally when I was in college, kind of heard all the contemporary bluegrass bands, and it was like, oh, I want to do that.
Sure. Tell us about Duluth, because I see Duluth and Sioux Falls very similar to each other, almost like sister cities, because there's the musicians sort of all know each other and all support each other, even though they're in different bands. That's the case with Duluth, right? And a lot of them are bluegrass.
Yeah, I would say folk more than bluegrass. I think we're kind of one of the last banjo bands standing.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. But the folk scene, there's a lot of music venues and a lot of bars and pubs that pay musicians to come and play. So I think that really helps kind of foster a music scene and get people. It's like, I can make a couple bucks and play some music for people, and open mics all over town. And the other nice thing is there's really good beer in Duluth, and I think really good craft beer goes really well with music.
Yeah,
kind of creates this whole scene. And there's 250,000 people in the Twin Ports area, Duluth and Superior and all that. So there's people, there's college kids, and
And there is just a lot of great friends, and a pretty cool community you go down to your neighborhood bar, wherever, and you're going to see a musician in a band behind the bar working, or on the other side indulging. Or you'll see him at the grocery store and whatnot, you'll be walking in Super One and there's Charlie Parr or whoever else.
Yeah.
It's a big, small town.
That's what I get. Kind of vibe. And this is kind of Duluth week for us. We had Ian Alexi in, we had Superior Siren in, we had the Slamming Doors in, all of this week, and you guys. So, and everyone seems to know each other. They look at our wall and they start pointing out.
Yeah, we've actually, Laura Sellner from Superior Siren, went to high school with her and have known her probably 15 years as well. So it's
really? That's great.
I think we've all kind of played shows together too. Adam Herman from the Slamming Doors, he sits in with us on electric guitar all the time.
Yeah.
And Laura's played shows with us as well. Oh,
you have Adam Herman's glasses.
And you want to give it to us.
We'll bring him back to Duluth.
We'll charge him a ransom.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. We'll find a magazine and cut out all the.
They call it a courier fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
we'll get him back.
We'll send your glasses back with these boys.
And You mentioned Ian and Alexi, the Hobo Nephews of Uncle Frank have been, for me anyway, I mean, they've been good friends of ours, and ever since I started going out and seeing live music, I think they were the first band I saw live in Duluth, and when we started playing music with them, I just fanboy out and make a total doofus of myself, and now they're buddies, but so looked up to them for a long time. So.
Yeah, we had them on the show too.
Oh, great.
So drummers, do you guys ever tried a drummer, or you just don't even want to bring that into your world?
On our recent album, Just Can't Win, the one we put out in 2017, we had a drummer on, I think 5 tracks, something like that, and we love it.
Yeah, we had drums and fiddle, and
pedals.
Lee from Feeding Leroy played pedal steel on it, and Sonia from Feeding Leroy sang on it, and it was kind of just like invited all our friends to see what kind of sounds we could make in the studio. And so, but I'm glad we got back here as a 4-piece, because this is kind of how we tour. You know, we fit in the van well this way, and so this is. Everyone always used our old White Walls video session video for promo, and then we have fiddle and washboard, and then 4 guys would show up, and they're like, "I thought there's supposed to be more, yeah." So this is kind of what happens live. Us 4, but our latest album's got a much fuller sound and drums. It kind of turned our first rehearsal with drums. We're jamming out, and the look on everyone's face is like, "Holy, we're a rock and roll band now!" Like we went from being a folk band to just a straight up rock and roll band right here. It's fun. It changes the sound a little bit.
I took the sky for granted. I never knew her name. For the cost I should have lost, feeling that remains. Oh, tramp below, I see you running through the snow. I ask myself, do I know? Oh, tramp below. So many times she told me to never mind the storm, yet I batten down the hedges, feel my heart go. Oh, tramp below, I see you running through the snow. I ask myself, do I know? Whoa, tramp below. We're shining light of silver, that river down below, where your bluffs roll green like a summer dream, grass between my toes. Oh, tramp below, I see you running through the snow. I ask myself, do I know? Oh, tramp below. Remind me that the springtime comes from December snow. Still I fall into it all, nowhere else to go. Oh, tramp below, I see you running through the snow. I ask myself, do I know? Whoa, tramp below. Oh, tramp below, I see you running through the snow. I ask myself, do I know? Whoa, tramp below. Whoa, tramp below.
Yeah.
The White Wall Sessions is recorded at Last Stop Studios in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and is produced by Spectrum Films Incorporated. Executive producers are Jeff Zuger, Doug Taylor, Greggy Johnson, and Jay Fishback. Head of broadcast is David Palmer. Associate producer is Mike Yeager. The White Wall Sessions Radio is produced and edited by Jeff Zuger. Audio recording and mixing by Kevin Phipps, Chad Conrad, August Dahlgren, and David Palmer. Scheduling and artist relations, Tom Eisner. Be sure to join us again next week. Same time, same place.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.